Hi, my name is Ben, and today we're going to cover the pros and cons of debt settlement. Now, I previously was a CEO of a debt settlement firm, so I should know these pros and cons rather intricately. This video is full of information that other firms may not want you to know, but I really think it's important for you to understand. So let's get started. Welcome to Ascend Finance's YouTube channel, where we take complex debt options and debt relief options and break them down into simple, human, understandable language, such as bankruptcy, debt settlement, debt management, etc. My name's Ben, and I'm one of the co-founders here at Ascend. Today, I want to share with you some specific information that I learned while I was a CEO of a debt settlement company years ago. So let's cover the pros and cons of debt settlement. We built a debt settlement pros and cons calculator that we put in the description below that's unique to your situation. And the goal of that calculator is to help you understand the debt settlement option, understand the pros and cons, compare other options such as bankruptcy, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, and debt management to give you the most information to make the most informed decision. First, we're going to cover just a quick overview of what is debt settlement. Now, many of you probably already know what debt settlement is, but I just want to give a little bit of a basic understanding for those who don't. Debt settlement is when a debt settlement company or you try to negotiate your debt and settle it for less than the amount that is owed. It's different than debt management because you're settling for a lower amount, while debt management is trying to settle for a lower interest rate. An example of debt settlement might be that you have a $10,000 debt due to a creditor and you can't pay anymore, it's too much of a burden, and that you're able to then settle that debt after it's past due for $5,000, thus saving you money. The creditor likes it because that they are making some money off that debt, and you like it because you're saving money as well. This option takes into account many different things, and debt settlement can be done on your own or with a debt settlement company, and both of those are your decision. And so, but let's just go ahead and go over the pros and cons of debt settlement because there are a lot, so it's really important that you understand them. Let's get started with some of the pros of debt settlement. First, debt settlement can save you money. For example, it can save you 50% off your debt in some cases. Now, that doesn't include the debt settlement fee. So after the debt settlement company fee, it could be around 25 to 35%, but that's still savings. And it really depends on what the creditor settles for, but this is an impressive amount of savings if the process works. The next pro is there is flexibility in payments, which is a huge benefit, especially during Christmas time. Let's say that you have a debt and are on a rigorous monthly schedule and have severe consequences with missed payments. When you're in a debt settlement, you don't make the payments to your creditors and put your money into an escrow account. You have a lot of say in what amount goes when you put more money in or less money in. It really depends on your specific information. Another benefit of debt settlement is the amount of time it takes. So for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, it can take 5 years. And in debt settlement, sometimes it can take as little as 24 months. And it's a much shorter time than if you paid minimum payments on your creditors. This form of debt relief can be much faster than a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Other forms of relief like Chapter 7 can be a lot less time than a debt settlement, but I would say debt settlement is often much faster than some of these other options. Finally, one of the last benefits of debt settlement is that it can help you not file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy it can be a great option for a lot of people, but there are some consequences like it being on your public record for 7 or 10 years. Because of this, debt settlement is definitely a viable alternative to bankruptcy, and it allows you to settle some of your debt with the creditors and get out of debt potentially faster and for less cost. Now, let's consider the debt settlement cons. While there are many benefits, it is also really important to realize the definite cons of debt settlement. First, the debt settlement will impact your credit score and your credit report. Because you're not making your payments, your creditor will report those payments as late, and you'll end up with delinquent payments. This can be definitely remedied once you settle the accounts, and your accounts are then shown as paid, settled for less. But it's important to realize that your credit score could drop 100 points in the first 90 days of debt settlement. So just to be aware that there is some credit score implications at the beginning. Now, debt settlement company may be able to help you rebuild your credit score after the time. Second, and this might be the most important con is there may end in a debt collection lawsuit. Because you're missing multiple payments, your creditors may end up filing a lawsuit. Now, often I find that happens maybe after a year or 2 years after being out of debt. But it's really important to understand that you could be sued for your debt. A good debt settlement company would be able to kind of understand which ones are more likely to be sued on and which ones aren't. So it's really important to kind of understand those and have those questions answered even before you do debt settlement. And we'd be happy to kind of share our information from our debt settlement insights if we think that you are likely to be sued for your creditor mix. In many cases, after a lawsuit is filed, a debt settlement company may not help you, or they may have a creditor or a company or a legal company that may be able to help, but it's just not something you want to get into. Most people do not want to be sued. I know I don't want to be sued, so I would just be cognizant of that. Another potential con is that a creditor may not work with you. Now, this is not generally the case, but it can be the case with federal credit unions and credit unions. When I was a CEO of the debt settlement company, I saw that most companies will work with a debt settlement company because they want to settle the debt. They would rather have something than nothing, and they know that someone's facing a financial hardship. But it's interesting to know, and there are credit unions and federal credit unions that may not work with the debt settlement company. Another con is that there may be a potential tax burden for the debt forgiven. There's a thing called tax insolvency or tax solvency, and it's an IRS publication that I'll put a link in the description, but it's basically if you are tax insolvent, you may not have to pay income taxes on the forgiven debt. But if you are tax solvent, you may have to do that. And there's a whole nother thing in the IRS that kind of gives you that. And I'll put a link below that helps you kind of estimate whether that is for you. And our debt settlement calculator and free debt settlement insights actually help you go through that estimate itself. The last con is potentially the cost. There are fees involved with debt settlement, and it's definitely not a free option. It can, but in general, you can still save money, but there is a fee, and those fees are important to understand. Those are the pros and cons of debt settlement, and it's super important that you kind of understand those to see if this is the best option for you. If you need help comparing your options, feel free to use our free debt settlement calculator that I put in the link below. And I would love to answer any questions that you have about debt settlement, the pros and cons, credit score impact. So please feel free to leave a question in the comments below. And if you like this video, I'd definitely encourage you to like it. It's super encouraging to me. And if you want to have other insights and information, please subscribe, because we really try to put out a lot of good videos that are unbiased and simple and understandable to help you understand debt settlement, debt management, bankruptcy, all these different options to get you out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.